really the only reason that so many people out here have picked this up.
Yeah.
You know, just what Family Heritage does is simple. It pays cash directly to you. Pays in addition to any other insurance that you have, and then it provides coverage for you. And you can do it on you and him. You can do it on you and him and the kids. You can do it either way. There's about 3 or 4 pages worth of benefits. All that does is break down the numbers, which is probably what you're starting to wonder. Okay, JJ, if I'm in the hospital, how much am I going to get paid? If he has to have surgery, if one of the kids breaks an arm, breaks a wrist, how much am I going to get paid? And then hurry up, what does it cost?
Yeah.
Is that kind of what you want to know?
Oh yeah, definitely not.
That's what everybody wants to know. There's a couple of reasons I would say so many different people out here have picked this up. Number one is it's simple. It's very, very easy, very, very easy to understand. You know Drysdale, he's pretty direct. You know Ryan Drysdale, he's pretty direct. And I'm not trying to be mean, he's straightforward.
Yeah.
I mean, he's very straightforward. At the end of this, you're going to like it or you're not. It's pretty simple. I mean, it's a pretty simple decision. The second thing is, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Pleasant Hill, Stover, Columbia, I don't run into a lot of millionaires out here.
There's not many.
No. I mean, I'm not going to show you something that you absolutely love, but then when I get down to the end of it, you can afford it. What good does that do me and what good does that do you?
Not at all.
Do you feel like I would probably have 50 or 60 different people out here that have picked this up? I mean, if it wasn't so affordable.
Yeah, there probably would be no 10 people.
Most of these people, I mean, you know them better than I do, most of these people out here are blue-collar people. You know, the hardest part about my job is just catching people at home. You know, if this is something that you like, fantastic. If it's something you don't like, fantastic. You know, does he have any problem telling me no?
He doesn't at all. He'll tell you no.
That's what, and honestly, sometimes, and I know this is hard to believe, sometimes I'll get back here at the end of it, and some people will say, God, JJ, I sure do like this. I'll call you, don't call me. What does it really mean? Or sometimes I get back here at the end of this, JJ, I love that. Let me think about it and I'll holler at you next week. How many of those people do you think I hear from?
Never.
I only ask one favor, and I ask every person the same favor. When I get to the end of it, if it's something that you like, give me a big fat thumbs up. If it's something you don't like, give me a big fat thumbs down. Is that fair enough? Is that fair enough?
Do that.
Now we have different levels of coverage. This is a little bit bigger number than what this is. Well, naturally, when I get to the end of it, I'll show you different levels of pricing.
Okay.
You get what you pay. I mean, if you go with that lower price, you get the lower coverage. You go to the best price, you get the best coverage. So any type of internal cancer, whether it be breast or prostate cancer, it's going to pay $4,500 up front. If it's skin cancer, then we only give you $900 for that. They call this just to get you started. From here back, all these benefits are going to have no lifetime limits. That means every day that you're in the hospital, it's $450 a day. It's a little bit over $3,000 a week coming in. For the two of y'all, which one of y'all most of the time takes care of the water bill, the utility bill, the cell phones, the truck insurance? Who mainly writes the checks?
I do.
You do? Okay. Your budget's none of my business. But if you had $3,000 coming in a week, would that at least keep y'all's head above water?
Yeah, I would.
$3,000 a week?
Oh yeah.
My God, I hope so. If not, I'll go get a job down at the hospital. I don't have very many friends bringing home $3,000 a week.
Yeah.
Any type of surgery or anesthesia is going to be another $15,000 on top of that. Radiation and chemo is different for different people. What we do is we give you $300 a day, but these 3 words right here are very important. No lifetime limits on the surgery, no lifetime limits on the hospital. We don't max it out at 2 days in the hospital and we stop paying. 2 weeks in the hospital, 3 surgeries. We don't max it out at 8 chemo treatments. But there's no lifetime limits. You know, the best way to fight cancer is to catch it early. So if you'll go get a checkup, for ladies it's going to be pap smear, mammogram, breast ultrasound, colonoscopy, prostate exam. We're going to give you $150 per person per year. You know, you don't even have to have cancer to use that benefit. And then hospice is towards the very, very end. That maxes out at $27,000. Now I'm over halfway finished with this already. from what I've shown you so far, what would you say you like best? The fact that it paid cash, it comes directly to you, you choose the way that money gets spent, or the wide variety of benefits, no lifetime limits?
I kind of like how we get to choose how we spend the money.
Sure.
We kind of have control of it, which is nice. It's different.
Why do you say that?
Because a lot of times with insurance, it just gets paid straight to the doctors and we never really see it. So it's just like we pay the premiums and it's not ours to control.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you guys, I know we're not far into it yet, but are y'all beginning to see why Janelle and Kevin? Why so many different people out here? Do you see why CD picked this up? Is it making any sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Now, where you get treated, it's going to make a world of difference. Of course, everybody's heard of St. Jude's. For us, we're really close to the Mayo Clinic, University of Chicago, and you can go anywhere in the United States. You can go to Columbia, you can go to St. Louis, go wherever you want to. As long as you're traveling more than 80 miles, we're going to pay $3,000 for your plane ticket or 60 cents a mile if you don't want to fly. Some people don't like to fly.
Mm-hmm.
This is the thing, though. I can promise you don't want to go by yourself. You want your mom, dad, brother, sister, or you may want him to go. So what we do is we pay for one additional person to go with you. We'll cover that person's hotel room at $150 a night. Now this also has no lifetime limits. People don't go to St. Jude one time. It may end up being multiple trips. That right there concludes the cancer protection. A couple of things. Number one, we don't ever want you to be diagnosed with cancer. Ever, ever, ever. But number two is, have you ever been diagnosed with cancer?
I don't know.
You ever not? Like even just skin cancer.
Mm-hmm.
See, the kids.
No, we're all good.
Okay, fantastic. Now there's a couple of things that worry families besides just cancer. Or some type of serious accident. In addition to the cancer protection, there's also intensive care. Now this is for any reason. If it's you, it's $900 a day. If it's due to a vehicular accident, then we double it. It goes to $1,800 a day. Step down unit, ambulance, ambulance, accidental death, and paid just the same. Just like the cancer protection, this is cash. So it's paid directly to you. But with this, it goes into effect immediately. If God forbid something happened next week, this is already into effect. Have either of y'all had any heart problems? Just something minor, maybe that you were born with or something like that. The kids?
No.
Okay. Up top right here, this doesn't say anything at all. I know that it doesn't say car accident or floor accident, or a horse accident. What are these three words right here?
For any reason.
Yeah. Does that include car accident, floor accident, horse accident?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Up front, I told you, or not I told you, the American Cancer Society says that 91% of cancer is not hereditary. Okay? Whenever it comes to high blood pressure and diabetes and heart attacks and strokes and stents and bypasses and things like that, it's almost the exact opposite. It's almost 90% it is hereditary. So I want to make sure to show you guys this, and I know it doesn't run in his family near as much as it does with you because of your grandpa. But up front, if it's a heart attack, a stroke, any type of cardiovascular, up front, what we're going to do is we're going to pay you $750 up front. Every day you're in the hospital is $375 a day. Now that's only if you stay for 69 days. Anything after that, the 70th day moving forward, we're going to bump that up to $600 a day. It's also going to cover some diagnostic private nurses, which is like EKGs, ambulance, blood and plasma, some physical therapy and things like that. Surgery and anesthesia, both of those are going to be covered. Surgery is going to be up to $4,500 and anesthesia is going to be up to $1,125. Outpatient physical therapy is covered just the same as inpatient physical therapy. Now, a minute ago, I was telling you about transportation and lodging. Transportation and lodging, we're going to pay for that just exactly the same, just a little bit less. Does that make sense?
That does, yeah.
This right here is probably going to apply a lot more to him and then to your kids more than what it will to you.
Mhm.
And that's just accidents and injuries and broken bones and things like that. So I want to make sure to show this to you guys, unless you're super clumsy or klutzy. It may apply to you as well. Up front, when you go to the emergency room, then you're going to get paid cash. You know, every day you're in the hospital, it's $450 a day. That's a little over $3,000 a week coming in. $3,000 a week coming in. Ambulance is covered, air ambulance is covered. If you break an arm or you break a wrist, we're going to give you $2,100. You know, if you break a leg, we're going to give you $7,500, unless it's the bottom of your leg, and then you're only worth $3,000 down there. Dismemberment and accident, both of those are covered. Family lodging, I've already explained that. Family education. Let me explain this last benefit. Right now, Family Heritage is the only company in the industry that offers this benefit. God forbid, but if something happens to you, you're already healed, and one of you guys were killed, one of you guys passed away as a result of an accident, what we'll do is we'll pay for up to 5 kids' college education. Statistically, what they say is in a one-parent home versus a two-parent home, the chances of that child getting a college education just goes way down. And so what that does is it says that we'll pay for up to 5 kids' college education if, God forbid, something were to happen to you or something were to happen to him. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Now read this, because this is very, very important. The covered children receive 50% of the adult benefit shown. So simply what that means is if you or I break an arm, we're going to give you $2,100. If you want that full $2,100, you're going to have to break their arm twice. Because for kids, they only get half of what we did. You know, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Chelsea, I know that this stuff is simple. I know it's easy to understand. The last thing that I cover right here is always going to be the cost. Now, before I get to that, what questions do you have for me?
I don't have a lot of questions. I'm just kind of wondering how much it costs.
Sure,
It seems like
sure.
it's gonna be a lot.
We'll definitely, everybody wants to know that. We'll get to that. But what else is running through your head? What questions do you have running through your head?
Oh gosh, I don't have any specific ones. We just went over a ton of information.
Pretty simple.
Yeah.
The cash goes directly from us to you. You can spend it on the doctor or hospital. You can spend it on black or red at the casino. I mean, there's not a middleman. There's not a middleman. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Anything else running through your head?
Not that I can think of at the moment.
Sure. Just there's 2 things that I cover, whether people ask it or not, because as soon as I turn around and back out of your driveway, you're like, God, why did I ask him? Number 1 is, what if I have to file a claim? I know that's not something that you think about, but it's a reality. You know, I have roughly between, let's say, 50, 60, 70 clients out here. Not a single one of them has ever done any of their own paperwork.
Yeah.
If something happens to you, call me directly. I'll take care of your paperwork. I'll overnight it to the company. It's not something that you guys will have to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? The second thing is this. Family Heritage knows, guys, as a company, they know finances can change about that quick. And so what they've done is they've just put lower levels of coverage into place. God forbid, but a year from now, March, you guys get into a tight spot and you say, JJ, I know I need this, but I just need to bump it to a little bit lower level. You can do that at any time. And you can also bump it up at any time. You can't call me and say, hey, we're leaving the ballpark, I think we've got a broken arm, can I bump up to that top level and then file a claim? You can't do something like that, right? But I mean, you can go down or up at any time. The other thing is, we don't have a contract. You know, just because you start here in December, that doesn't mean you have to wait around until December comes if you want to get out. If you need to get out of this in February, if you need to get out of it in August, you need to get out of it in October, you can get out of it at any time. There is no contract with our company.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
That
Does that make sense? What other questions do you have before I cover this cost?
I don't have any.
Our commitment to you is that your benefits